Good morning and welcome back to EduWeave Online Education Expo. We have got another very interesting panel discussion lined up for you today, the last day of the Expo. We've always talked about this as a concept, as something that is always discussed in the community. And as always, we've been saying this, the whole Expo has been built around this one topic called empathy. And we believe that is the next thing that we need to look at. And as our keynote speaker yesterday was talking about, this is the third skill that the next world is going to look at, which is empathy and intuition. So we are going to talk about empathy today. And the specific topic that we're going to talk about is how to raise an empathetic child. And we have a very interesting panel here. And to start off with, we have a very empathetic child herself here, who's going to introduce our moderator, our student volunteer, Kirtana. Please take over, Kirtana.
Thank you, sir. We have our moderator, Ivy Emmanuel, who is a behavioral skill trainer, leadership and life coach. And she's the founder and director of Clockwork and Z Vibes Wellness Clinic, LLP. And she's also the author of Wheelspins to Your Will book. So I invite Ivy ma'am today and request her to take over the introduction of the panelists. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kirtana. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'm really happy to be here today. Thanks to Manoj and team for inviting me as a moderator. This is a topic which is very close to my heart, and I think it's wonderful to have discussions around it. Today, we have two very, very distinguished guests with us, and I would love to introduce them. The first guest for today is Ms. Sushila Santosh. She is the founding member and director of Vishwa Vidyapeeth Group of Schools. They have 3 schools across Bangalore, and Ms. Sushila has got a lot of awards. She's been awarded Distinguished Contributor in the field of education by International Education Summit. She is one of the top 50 effective principals in India, stated by Education Today for 2 years in a row. And she's also awarded the title of Corona Warriors, conferred by CSR Times. So a very, very warm welcome to Ms. Sushila to today's panel discussion.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
And our second guest is a very well-known personality in BNI, and he needs no introduction there, but I would anyways introduce him to our guests and parents who are present today. He is Mr. Balaji Pasumati, and he's the executive director of BNI Bangalore. He is an alumni of IIT Madras and IIM Bangalore. He also owns Golden Square Private Serviced Offices, where he renders his passionate services towards creating platforms and helping entrepreneurs really figure things out in a much more smoother way. So a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Balaji to today's panel. And as Manoj has said, it takes a village to raise an empathetic child. That's the topic for today. And both the panelists are going to definitely contribute a lot of great ideas towards this discussion. So let's, without any further ado, let's quickly get into opening the panel discussion. I would like to open this discussion with my first question directed to Ms. Sushila. So, Ms. Sushila, in your, while I was reading about you and while I was understanding more about your career and the things that you've done, I realized that you are actually a nurse practitioner who moved into education. And you have stated that you felt that involvement in early childhood makes a big difference. So I would just like to understand a little bit more on how that is connected to creating empathetic individuals right from an early age.
Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and I would like to thank EduWeave for hosting this panel discussion, which is need of an hour. As we all know, every child is unique, and every child should be brought up in a very special way, who will be future citizens. But in this hurry, what we have, we are forgetting to teach them the basic values, which are very, very essential in everyone's life. When we come to the part of empathy, this is something which each one of us should try to imbibe into ourselves, not wait for an opportunity. For example, for today's session also, when we are having a discussion, we should be empathetic about each other, try to understand each other and take and place ourselves in each other's shoes so that we will have a very conducive environment and we will know how to mold ourselves to be present in that particular situation. For example, right from the time the mother conceives the child, she becomes more empathetic. Like, what is my child needed? What is the food, what I'm going to eat? Will it be sufficient for my child? This is where empathy starts. Entire family will start becoming empathetic about the pregnant woman and start giving a lot of attention. From there, empathy again starts. From the time the child is born, it is due responsibility of every family member to be empathetic about the situation so that the child learns it. It is not something what we speak. It is something what the child learns by looking at our actions, and which are louder than words, as we all understand. So I think that's nothing apart from the day-to-day life. It's nothing to be taught, but it is to be imbibed.
That's a wonderful thought. It's about empathy being, not just in words, but it's about empathy being demonstrated, right? Yes. Which is the most effective way in which a child could learn. That's a very great point that you've made there, Ms. Sushila. Coming to my next question, this is directed to Mr. Balaji. So, Mr. Balaji, you've inspired me and a lot of us through BNI, and you understand entrepreneurship, you understand career. You understand the challenges, that the industry puts out there. So my question to you is actually about, in this fast-paced world, right? Do you think there is room for empathy? What happens, how do you get distinguished if you have empathy, say in business or in career, etc.?
Fascinating. I think there are various dimensions to this topic. One is, since you talked about entrepreneurship and so on, the beauty of being an entrepreneur is, you can be yourself, right? You don't have to conform to some other concept of this is how you need to be, or this is the kind of business you should create, or this is the kind of organization you need to, or this is the kind of cause that you need to go after. So when you think about empathy is really about understanding someone else's feelings and views and so on. I think it starts, first of all, with understanding yourself. And, so if you're confident about yourself as a person, if you value yourself as it is, instead of trying to pretend to be someone else, I think that's the starting point to empathy. Because if you cannot, understand or appreciate yourself, how can you appreciate or understand someone else? So from that angle, I think, as an entrepreneur, the starting point is being empathetic to yourself, and then you can be empathetic to others. I think that would be one aspect to it. And being an entrepreneur, actually, it's about getting along with others, right? So unless others get attracted to what you're saying or what you're doing and so on, you don't have customers to start with, right? Or a team to start with. So being empathetic, I think, is a very, very important quality there to carry others along, and that's how you build teams, and that's how you build organizations and so on. So these two things, and I think I can echo the other thought that is, can you really teach empathy? I'm not sure you can really teach empathy, especially to kids. I don't think, and however, the kids will pick up from what they observe you doing, so they can learn from you, but I don't think you can teach them anything. So your actions speak louder than words. So do we create a space at home where our kids feel safe about themselves? They feel good about who they are, and therefore they kind of say that, okay, you know what, others are also good the way they are, and therefore you become empathetic. I think that's really at the core of it, I feel.
So, okay, we have a completely new perspective. So we have Mr. Balaji stating that empathy is not something that you can really teach somebody. It's something that, it comes in as a culture, if I may say, right? Something along those lines. So coming right back to Ms. Sushila for this particular question, because she's an educator, she's, been involved with children at a very early age. So Ms. Sushila, I have two questions to you, actually, if you could just answer it. One is, empathy is also a word which is quite often misunderstood, right? So would you like to throw some light on giving clarity to what exactly empathy is for whoever here does not understand its core meaning. And also maybe a little bit more on, I think Vishwa Vidyapeeth, one of the core values is definitely to inculcate, empathetic childhood. So what is your school doing? They say that the change begins from, within. So what is your school doing, to enhance this quality amongst children?
Okay. First of all, let me tell you that empathy is a feeling. It is an emotional reaction or a response for any situation. There are three definitions or the three different aspects. One is apathy, not having feelings at all. It is something where a person do not feel anything, whether you share happiness, whether you share your grievance, whether you share anything, the opposite person do not respond and react to anything. This is called apathy, where there is feelingless. Second is sympathy. Sympathy is something where most of us or some of us do not like. Don't be sympathetic about me. Okay, I'm okay with it. This is somewhere where your ego, I, plays that I do not want to live under sympathy of somebody. Where a person comes and expresses to you, this is a problem what I have, and you try to show some kind of feeling. Oh, is it? I feel sad about you. This is sympathy. You're not placing yourself in their situation, but you're trying to understand their feelings and you're trying to give them some kind of support, and that is called sympathy. Empathy is totally different from apathy and sympathy. It is wherein which you are going to for the other person. You will feel, if I am you, how would I feel about it? So once I know, like if I am wearing your shoes or if I'm in your position, how would I respond to that? What is the feeling I will get? Based on that, you try to share some kind of support to that person. That is called empathy. So we always have to remember, don't feel sympathetic about anybody, but you have to have empathy on everybody. So what happens? Your approach is different. The way you're going to treat people is different. There will not be any kind of manipulations. There will not be any kind of masking. You'll be what you are. The originality is retained if you are empathetic about, the people who are around you. And coming back to our school, Vishwa Vidyapeeth, it is deeply rooted into Indian culture and tradition. When you speak about India, that itself tells how rich heritage and values we have. We are most empathetic people. That's how, Britishers also ruled our country when they came. We never realized why they are here. We were more empathetic. Yes, you want something? No, come on, we are there for you. Sometimes being more empathetic is also dangerous. But we should know the fine line till where you can be empathetic and how you can share your feelings, your responsibilities, your things with others. We inculcate these habits into our children right from the early age. Dignity of labor, that's one way what we can teach children to be empathetic also. When they start respecting people, when they start realizing why aunties are taking care of them, why drivers are taking care of them. This is one particular aspect. Second is Corona. During Corona, when we started retaining our staff members without, sacking them, and start trying to do some kind of activity where we know they are dependent on us and how we can support them in that situation. When we cut the salaries a little bit, but still we said, let us start farming in our campus. They all came forward and we started organic farming also. These are, practically we don't teach them. That's what I said initially. I don't ask my teachers, take one GK topic. Now, general knowledge is what something you're going to do. In value education, you have a heading about empathy and you start. Please don't do that. Empathy should never be taught. The more you try to put pressure on children, now you should be empathic. This is what empathy is. They will not learn it. They will go against. You be empathic and let them come back to you asking, you're so nice. What is that you're showing towards me? Then you can tell, I'm being empathetic about you, my child. Then they understand the value of it.
Okay, interesting. So I think we've got some wonderful perspectives on empathy here. I would direct my last question to Mr. Balaji. So I think from beginning with what empathy is and then having two different points of view, we are again back on the same page. I think we've come to terms that it's an emotion, and emotions can't be taught. It's only something that can be felt. And coming to the last question, how do you think as as a community, it takes a village to raise an empathetic child. So how do you think, a few points, if you could give us some few plug and play points or some solutions, how people at their homes, at schools, at workplaces can bring about this, change in feeling empathy more?
So let me maybe start with workplaces and teams. So how do we create a norm or a culture where people feel accepted and they feel honored that they can actually share their views, their thoughts freely, and they won't be snubbed or they won't be ridiculed. So things like that. So culture where some very simple meeting practices, for example, can happen, can change the norm. For example, making sure that in a meeting, everybody gets space to speak, right? And even those people who may be hesitant to speak, for example, maybe they think that, okay, we are possibly juniors in the company, or possibly our qualifications are not up to the mark, or whatever be their inhibitions for speaking. But we create a space where we actually ask, okay, what are your thoughts about this? And we make sure that everybody gets a chance, an opportunity to speak. And when they speak, irrespective of maybe the language they use or the accent that they use or whatever, there is no ridicule or there's no sniggering or there's no but you only value their thoughts, their ideas, and whether it is meaningful for the discussion on hand. So if you create
also BNI does BNI Cares initiative, something that is very prominent in in different chapters. So would you like to shed some light on that as well?
Oh yeah, sure, certainly. So going forward. So in a sense, so what going to the workplace kind of a thing, just creating those norms that, hey, what matters is your contribution rather than where you come from, or your qualifications or grade or this, all of that, so that makes people feel special, fully present to who they are, and they are able to come forth and talk about it. So creating a space like that allows people to be empathetic to others, right? So I think as leaders, it's our responsibility to be able to create something like that. The other aspect, coming to be a bank case, that is really how the whole community of BNI members come together to make sure that everyone is safe and protected and are taken care of during a crisis. And it's an amazing initiative. I think around 400 odd members volunteered to become part of Bank Case. It was not obviously something that BNI's mission states. Mission is about the referrals and generating referrals for members. But imagine that many members coming together, organizing themselves, organizing oxygen cylinders or ambulances, and figuring out which hospitals has an empty bed, and even giving just that direction that, hey, this is what you need to be doing when you have COVID. So that kind of voluntary service to help others, that's amazing. That's just a way to show that we care for each other.
I'm sure even the Vishwa Vidyapeeth group of schools have donated food during the COVID crisis, and they've also helped the police, and they've distributed supplies and things like that. So I think like you said, Mr. Balaji, this is something that is an initiative taken. It's a platform that is created by institutions to kind of take the idea forward and help others, of course. So this is I'd like to come back to Ms. Sushila. There was one audience question about how can the students or the parents get in touch with the schools or institutions and work towards having and building empathy. And also, if you could just throw some light, or if you could share your experience of the whole y'all helping in or stepping in during the Corona crisis, that would be great.
Yeah, see, as I said, if the schools start speaking about empathy and the family environment is totally different, the child will have conflict in the mind. What is that school is teaching? What is that happening at home? It's something where we have to work in collaboration, right from the family to the school and the society. It's a triangular process wherein all of us should make the child feel, yes, this is right. For example, there might be an event in the school, or there might be volunteering which is required. I always tell my parents, as caterers, do not stay away from the school. The school and the parents are on the catering side. The child is on the receiving side. So once you trust any school for that matter and take your child's admission to that school, be more close to the school, wherein you try to understand the school in a better way, right? It is only a medium wherein which we are trying to teach children what cannot be taught at home, the subject things. But the values of life, The personality development of the child starts from home. It will not be starting from the school. Whatever you start at home, we will be nourishing that. That's it. So here you should take active participation. In this context only, I think I can give you an example of the present actor whom we have lost 2 days back, Sri Puneeth Rajkumar also. Today, thousands and lakhs of people are mourning for him, not for the money what they have, not for the kind of movies what he did, but being empathetic and being socially responsible citizen, how he could serve the society. That is what something is touching everybody. Right? If you have a personality is not something how we build what we eat and what we are. It is the legacy what we are going to build for ourselves that will show how good you have lived your life. I think schools should work closely with the parents, and parents also should trust the institution where they have taken their child's admission, so that speak on the same lines. There might be differences in opinion, but do not discuss those things in front of children. Go to the school, sit and talk to them, understand, and always feel you all as one. The school, the teachers, parents as one, and the child is only receiving. The parent should not be on the child's end if you're really looking at preparing good citizens for the future.
That's such a wonderful example you brought in here, and so relevant. It was very visible over the last 2 days, the kind of fan following. Definitely more than the celebrity status. It was definitely the deeds of Mr. Puneeth Rajkumar, that has actually touched many lives and many hearts. And it's the unsaid and unspoken kindness that he's actually shared to many.
See, even when the family decided to donate his eyes, at that particular situation where the entire family is in shock, nobody can think about what promises we make, right? But that is where it is imbibed in them. It is not taught. They have seen their parents like that. They have seen their culture like that. And that's how they are being brought up. So they could implement that. This is where the difference comes, where what you can teach, what cannot be taught.
Right. Ma'am, and I think your school also does this moms initiative, right? Something that you all are looking. Could you shed some light on that as well?
Yes, madam. We incepted our school in 2011. This is a 10th year, and 10th year celebrations are going on. Right from the 4th or 5th year, we have started calling Mother on Duty. Mother on Duty is nothing but every working day. Out of 186 working days, all 186, there is a mother on campus, so that they know what is happening at school. There will not be any kind of doubt in the parents' mind, what is going to happen with my child at school. The transparency to the core is something what we believe in. Every day there is one mother, they host the assembly for us. They'll be in the kitchen and dining because we cater food for all our students. And then during the transport, they assess the teachers also. So there is confidence which is built in parents as well. See, nothing is beyond trust. You have to trust each other. The trust will be built only when there is transparency, right? So this is where we always call the mothers. They come genuinely. We give them the timetable. They'll come in the morning. They'll stay back with us till at least afternoon. Some mothers will stay back till evening, including the menus they share with us, what can be cooked for our children. So what happens? There is bonding between the parent and the school. We don't stay away. The strength of Vishwa Vidyapeeth is the parent community and the staff community. Why I call staff here? Right from our maintenance staff, drivers, admin, and teachers till the leadership role, we do not have any kind of difference. There is no ego in any of us. Okay, all of us become together as a team, wherein children are our goal, wherein what we teach our children is something what we look at. It's a societal responsibility.
Wonderful. Great. So that's, I think that's a really, really wonderful initiative, because actually trust is also a topic which is very, very important. And many of us have trust issues. We don't know how to kind of perceive this word trust, and empathy is very much dependent on this word called trust, right? It becomes the foundation of empathy. Moving to my last question for today to Mr. Balaji. In a corporate world, right? In today's corporate world, the competition is so crazy. It's like, everyone's running a mad rat race. So is there room for empathy? And how is empathy the most important skill in corporate today? How is that going to be a game changer?
I think starting from the simplest, they say people leave bosses, they don't leave organizations, right? And why do people leave bosses? And if you go back and talk to people and so on, it'll be as simple as, they didn't listen to me. Okay, so someone didn't listen to you. It's as simple as that. And what does listening mean? Listening doesn't just, is not silence. It's actually being empathetic to someone's viewpoints, and so on and so forth. I think it's a very basic basic skill or basic characteristic that somebody needs to have as a leader, that if you really want to carry someone along, you need to be able to relate with someone at a individual level. Where they come from, what do they really mean? I mean, what do they stand for? And not just that, not just accepting it, but accepting it and then possibly growing or helping the person and the team grow to the next level. I think that's what the ability of a leader really is. So it starts with empathy. If you don't have empathy, I don't think you have any leadership skills. So that's as foundational as that. And being able to create a place where a space where people feel trusted, they feel safe. That is the new competitive advantage. Everything else being equal, how do you galvanize a team? It's because of this one quality, empathy. I think we may or may not use the word itself, but it all actually stems from that. And very, very important quality. Yeah.
Interesting. So I think whether it's corporate or whether it's education, it all boils down to action.
Yeah, I had one more thought from a children point of view, I think.
Okay.
So when we think of empathy as really of understanding someone else and who might be very different from us, right? Or their points of view or their background, etc., where it might be very different from us. So how do you actually accept that difference? Because the resistance really comes because you're hardened to your own opinions and your own values and so on. So I think while bringing up kids, if we expose them to different things, different ideas, get them exposed to different literature, different thoughts, different ideologies, different ways of being, I think that cultivates this idea of accepting others as who they are and accepting those views. I think just pure exposure would be one way to allow empathy to be taught to kids.
I think that's a wonderful point, because in today's environment, we are so protective, in fact, overprotective of our children. We're too scared to let them go, right? And that fear of letting them go is actually kind of tying their minds up of exploring new opportunity and new wisdom. And I'm so glad that you pointed that out. I think that every parent here, get your thinking hats on. I think it's a very, very important idea that we should definitely look at letting go from our side as parents, right? So that's thank you, Mr. Balaji. That was wonderful. And I think, time's up, and we've come to the end of today's panel discussion. Though it was a very short panel discussion, I think we had a very enriching discussion, and you all had a lot of great thoughts and ideas that you brought to the table. Over to Manoj to wind up and give his last. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivy. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Mr. Balaji. It was an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you for all the support that you're doing right through BNI Cares and creating that amazing community. We've all benefited from that ourselves. And a big, big thanks to Sushila, ma'am, and team Vishwavidyapeeth. They've been a backbone for us right from the time we announced this expo. They are our sponsors for the Inspire Talk contest as well. I'm just letting all the children in now so that they are also part of the next 2-3 minutes that we have. So Balaji, these are the children who are going to present their speeches. So this is okay. So we have a little bit of pandemonium because the children are in the room now. So please mute yourself. So we are going to have this amazing panel, this amazing contest that is going to start now, which is called the Inspire Talk contest. Balaji, this is about stories from their life on empathy that they're going to say, they're going to speak about, and that's going to inspire other children. Big thanks to Sushila ma'am, Team Vishwavidyapeeth, because this is a contest that is very, very close to our heart, because this is something that we believe in doing and inspiring others. So thank you for sponsoring this contest and being a backbone to us right from the time we announced this expo. Thank you for sponsoring us. Thank you for being a collaborator with us and a partner with us. Thank you so much, Sushila ma'am and team. Vishwavidyapeeth, and a big thanks to Balaji again for being here. Please feel free to hang around here so that you can see these amazing little kids talk about their stories. Ivy is going to be a judge on this one. She's going to be part of it. And I also welcome Arun, who has joined in, who's also going to be here.
Hi guys, how are you?
We are very good. We are very good. Thank you. So we'll just take a couple of minutes break so that the backend team gets prepared on this. Also to tell you, Sushila ma'am, and Balaji and Ivy again once more, we have a team of student volunteers and they've been our support system through this expo. They're going to coordinate it from the backend. Me, Sandhya, becoming the faces of it, but the rest of the work is being done at their backend. So I'm just making them also as co-hosts so they can do the little bit of work on muting and others. So thank you so much. We wind up on the panel discussion right now. We'll take a quick 2-minute break and come back with the Inspire Talk contest. Thank you, Ivy. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you, Sushila ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
For all the children.